Well, good evening. Welcome again to the 2012fad.com. I am your host, Charlie Bluehawk, for the evening. Last night we talked about our friend, the cell phone, and how even when your cell phone is off, it's on. And how, by pressing it against your skin, your body becomes a microwave antenna. You become a microwave oven. And that you are cooking parts of your own body. I mean, really, who would do that? Tonight, I thought we would chat about when polar bears dance and how our masters are trying to convince us that global warming is happening. Why on earth would anybody go to the trouble to convince us that our planet, our Earth, is getting warmer? Simple. It gets back to control. It gets back to their religion. It gets back to wanting, needing, desperately needing to control. Because when you control somebody, you can hurt them. And our masters take tremendous joy in hurting us. They literally feed on our pain and our misery, our suffering. It's like our pain and our misery and our suffering is like a 12-course meal. They truly need to hurt us. And the best way, the most effective way to hurt us is to be able to control us completely. It sort of adds a little spice to the meal, I guess. Our masters want control. And their goal, our masters' goals, is a one-world government that will give them complete and absolute control of us, their property, their cattle, you and me. So, if they convince us that the world is heating up because, and this is the part that's sort of comical, because of SUVs. The claim of our masters is that they sold us these big gas-guzzling monster cars that have no purpose in life. And because we bought them, there's a lot of carbon in the air. Carbon dioxide levels are increasing, which is causing the greenhouse effect, which is causing our world to heat. And therefore, we have to control the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, which means that a central world government must take control of your local government in order to save the planet. A carbon tax. The control of carbon dioxide emissions, as I say, from a central world authority. Our masters would have absolute control of every government on the planet simply by telling them how much carbon dioxide they could put into the atmosphere. It would effectively take away control from all genuinely elected officials, which would create a central world government, a new world order. Now, our masters are trying to convince us, again, and Al Gore, a good Mandarin-class servant of our masters, and a guy, by the way, with a mansion in Tennessee that is the horror of his neighborhood. It uses so much coal-burning electricity that apparently you can see his house for miles around. I actually lived in Tennessee and talked to the people who received Al Gore's mail at the local mailbox, etc., where I got my mail. It's amazing what you can learn in a mailbox, etc. And Al Gore is the horror of Tennessee. Big old fat slob trying to convince us that burning coal is bad while he's lighting up the stars with the lights from his house. And again, it gets back to those massive SUVs, absolutely useless megavans that we were all conned into buying. So we pollute the planet and so cause the planet to heat up. More carbon dioxide in the air means a hotter planet. Okay, well, let me ask you this then. Why is Mars getting hotter? Are the Martians driving our SUVs? Is the planet Mars, does they have SUVs from us? Because it's getting hotter. Its poles are melting. Why is the planet Venus getting hotter then? You know, it must be more American-made SUVs driving around on Venus. You know, wow. If we're exporting American-made SUVs to the planet Venus, why isn't our economy better? Oh, sorry, humor. I forgot. This is very serious stuff we're dealing with. But, you know, sometimes I gotta laugh because it's amazingly stupid. And yet I personally know many people all over the world who are trying to force their own governments to give up their sovereignty, to give up their elected officials, to give up control of their country to the New World Order for a phony carbon tax. And if you try to talk to these just regular people, the 98% cattle, about the reality of the situation, they become really angry. It's the same with trying to talk to people who support Barack Obama, the Obamanoids. I actually talked to one Barack Obama supporter, an American guy working in New Zealand. When I asked him some questions about Obama, I said, he kept telling me Obama was the future and the Messiah. And I pointed out that Obama's cabinet was all old George Bush, the Clintons, Caspar Weinberger, all these other brutal, vicious dictators. I mean, murdering bastards. The guy actually started crying because he didn't have an answer. He just kept muttering Obama was the Messiah or something. I felt bad for the guy. I just walked away from him. But you have that same problem with this carbon tax thing where they've actually convinced people that we're pumping carbon dioxide into the atmosphere so fast it's heating the planet. Okay. Then how come we're in the next ice age? And the polar bears. Let's not forget about the dancing polar bears. Today, there are more polar bears alive than there have been in centuries. And they're doing quite well because it's warm and toasty, which means more fish, which means more to eat. And so when you hear these stories about the polar bears dying out, no, polar bears are doing quite well, thank you. Their numbers are growing. Why? Because when it gets warmer at the poles, more fish, more seals, more food. And more food means more babies. And you know what? The poles are actually getting warmer. That is true. The poles on the planet Earth are getting warmer. The poles on the planet Mars are getting warmer. The poles on the planet Venus are getting warmer. Even as the rest of the planet plunges into an ice age, because we are in the beginnings of the next ice age. And again, you can look this up. We have an ice age, I think, every 100,000 years. I don't remember the exact numbers. That's not my specialty. But yeah, we're in the middle of an ice age beginning now. And let's see, today, for example, is March 10th, 2011. And today there's 160 inches of snow predicted for New York and the American Midwest. I think that's about 13 feet. That's a lot of snow for March. And here in Europe, it's very cold, it's rainy, it's windy, it's cold, and it should be spring. Now, I still have problems with seasons because I grew up in the deep desert. I grew up in Los Angeles, which is the deep desert. So we only had one season. We had summer. We had one temperature, hot. We had one color, brown, because everything was dusty and dirty because it very rarely rained when I was a kid. So I'm not used to seasons. So if I screw up, please forgive me. I'm not accustomed to it. But it's true, the poles are getting hotter on all the planets. Why? Because the universe is electrical in nature. And since the major contact points of our Earth are the poles, and yes, they are getting hotter. But we're still in an ice age. That's just the way it is. Now, you know I'm not a scientist. So at this point in our chat, I'm going to refer you to the experts in the field because for me to talk about it is ludicrous. You want to go to a website called Thunderbolts. And that's www.thunderbolts, THUNDERBOLTS.info, I-N-F-O. And you want to listen to the two gentlemen who run that website by the name of David Talbot and Wallace Thornhill. These guys are amazing to listen to. And they can explain the nature of the electrical universe in ways, I can't. Can't do it. But if you want to know the truth, check out their website. So remember, things to remember. The universe is electrical. The dead brown dwarf star is coming into the plane of our solar system. It has 3 planets. It is the dead companion to our yellow star, our sun. If the universe is electrical, that means that the various planetary bodies have positive and negative charges. As the dead brown dwarf star comes closer into the plane of our solar system, closer to us, and it's going to pass between us and the sun. Basically, the solar system is shorting out. Whenever you short out something, the electrical wiring in your home, and you touch it, it's hot because electricity creates heat. That's why the poles are warming and why the rest of the planet is getting colder. It's basically sucking the electrical current in a certain direction. Again, it's not my area of expertise. Go to www.thunderbolts.info and listen to David Talbot and Wallace Thornhill. But anyway, what we need to remember is the universe is electrical, which means that you and I are electrical, which means that you and I are part of the universe, which means that you and I are part of something much greater than we can even begin to imagine, which means that you and I are important. And never let anyone tell you any different. So please take good care of yourself. Please take care of those that you love and who hopefully love you. Please have a plan, have a dream, and make it come true. You know we have a plan and a dream. It's called The Village. And it's coming true right now, even as we speak. And I hope to see you there. For all of us here at the 2012fad.com, this is Charlie Bluehawk, wishing you a really good day and reminding you, please, try to keep at least that one good thought. The 2012 Fad is brought to you by Coffee and Blood, Love Letters Between the Dead, a series of 5 erotica horror novels about a fallen angel finding his way back to regain his own soul, and how the CIA war against the human race. Their black magic captures and traps him in the body of a mind-controlled slave designed to hunt down and to kill their god, their Satan.